Welcome back. This is Fantastic Pains and How We Hide Them. I'm not Chris.
And I'm definitely not Corina.
I'm a little hyperactive today.
But we're here together.
Yeah.
As usual.
I'm in timeout now. I'll see myself to the corner.
It's just one of those days.
Yes. Because we tried yesterday and it didn't work very well.
Multiple failures.
Yes.
It just wasn't it.
So we're back.
Yay.
For another try.
With a topic.
Yes.
We
with
didn't
really
have a topic before.
interesting topics. I'm actually excited to talk about this because it's new. Or new to me anyway.
Yep.
Or newish to me anyway.
You want to do the spiel? What are we?
Yes. What?
We are a chronic illness podcast.
Yes.
And EDS kind of focused.
Well, because the two of us, as you can see, they look upon our zebra print and my zebra print. If you're looking at the video, there's two zebra stuffies and I'm wearing a zebra print top because it is still Ehlers-Danlos Awareness Month. And we have Ehlers-Danlos type 3, which is the hypermobility type. I don't think it's called type 3 anymore. I think it's just hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos.
Yeah. Classification.
Yes. We're right. That's the other part. So who knows what we are?
Right.
Do we even exist? I don't know.
We're on the spectrum.
Which spectrum?
Many
All
spectrums.
the spectrums. Yep. And along with focusing on chronic illness, we look at invisible experiences and like mental health issues and kind of hearing from the more marginalized groups because our mission has kind of become many voices. So,
right. Well, there's so many shared experiences across the board.
Absolutely.
When dealing with any of it. So.
Yeah. So if you're new to us, you can find us on YouTube. You can find us where most podcasts can be found.
Except for Apple.
Apple,
you
indeed.
Don't do Apple.
Yeah. No Apple. You can also find us on TikTok. There's some silly stuff over there. We are siblings, so our dynamic gets a little bit crazy sometimes.
Yeah.
Yep. Anything else I missed?
Discord.
Oh, yes, the Discord. Join our Discord if you are feeling a little lonely in your experiences.
Our Discord family is amazing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. These are people that I respect the hell out of. They're phenomenal and amazing. And then if you too are a zebra, go check out our Ehlers-Danlos Awareness episode that came out the week before this episode did.
Yep.
We are super proud of it. I'm very excited.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, will it be a week between?
No, it'll be.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, my timelines are messed up because you're in the future.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be last week's episode.
Yes. Anything else?
Check out our Teespring.
Oh, yes.
We have some merch. We're adding some more designs, I think, this week. We'll try and get some of the actual Fantastic Pains designs up. And then I think that's it.
And we're working on a couple other designs for some more less Fantastic Pains branding, more just fun designs you can wear.
Yes.
So keep checking back. It'll be fun stuff.
Well, now that the shilling is over.
Indeed. It is time for the weekly recap.
Check in.
Here we go. Do you want to go first? Do you want me to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I have to kind of remember.
I know. I'm like, I don't know what happened.
Something happened. Oh, we had to reshoot. That's right.
Yes.
I spent a lot of time on the channel this week.
Yeah.
Doing upgrades, small things, little changes.
Right. Because last week we shot our first half of the Ehlers-Danlos Awareness video.
Yeah.
And then we went back and reshot the second portion so that it was a little more refined with some
the open letters. Yeah, the open letters parts we did a great job on.
I'm so thrilled. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to it all the way through, it's going to be a little repetitive. But that's simply because we have two different sections in there. One for the newly diagnosed or newly chronic illness experiences. And then one for the ones that we care about. So our well friends and family and spouses and
anyone that needs to hear it, really.
Yeah.
To help you understand.
Exactly. Help you be more understood.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we did that. I spent a lot of time with the kids this week. I did a lot of bro days. I got to, my daughter took a mental health day and we hung out all day, which was good.
Yeah.
She did some cleaning and then she got to hang out.
Right.
It was fun.
Which
it was
is
good.
Cool.
Good relaxing week for once.
Yeah. I don't think a whole lot happened this week.
Mm-mm.
I had some appointments, but beyond that, like nothing is sticking out too drastically in my memory. I remember Monday was terrible. Monday felt horrible. Was it Monday or was it Sunday? I might be wrong.
I think it was Monday. I think you're right.
Yeah, Monday was just bad.
Yeah.
It hurt. I think we're starting to adjust to the pressure, but it still kind of surprises us every now and then. Because if you are like us, you are sensitive to barometrics. And I can generally tell you a storm is coming 2 days ahead.
Yeah.
Like I woke up this morning and I was like, what? It has to be raining.
Something is going on.
What is going on here?
Yeah.
And we are forecast for rain on Tuesday.
Yep.
And I was like, aha, there it is. Bummer. Yeah, weekly recap for me. I always have to go back and look at our messages because if there was anything that happened, it was communicated to you.
A lot of sleep.
Generally. Yeah. I needed a lot of sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wednesday we were together. And then I don't know. I don't think there was
Pretty chill week.
Yeah.
You worked on your art stuff?
Yes, I actually picked up a new hobby, which was fun. And I don't think you can even see it. It's and I don't really want to flip off the camera either. But I have a gigantic blister on my hand because I saw a TikTok and I have ADHD. And I watched this woman carving linoleum to make prints. And I was like, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
And so I went and I bought a bunch of stuff and I am doing that. So I've been playing around with that, which has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Because it's been a minute since I had any kind of like hyper focus.
Yeah.
I'm not a big hobbyist.
No, but it's, I mean, as far as they go, it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's not too expensive.
Right.
It's really, it has a lot of creativity in it. So you're getting your creative fix.
Right. And there's a lot of just like, I don't know, it's soothing. It's like Zen garden.
Yeah.
But with knives. I don't know. I cut myself several times.
Zen garden with knives.
Right? If you ask my grandfather, I'm high strung and need to be careful with knives. So. Oh yeah, teeth.
Yeah, my bone graft is leaking. Like the bone chips.
Ugh. I hate that. That's no good.
No fun.
Yeah. Oh, I have a crown that I have to get next week.
Mm-hmm.
Which will be super fun. So exciting. Oh, and then I had my third pain and PTSD group.
That's right.
And that was really fascinating because we're digging more into, I don't know, more into the meat of it, right?
Yeah.
Less in the like, this is all review. So I think weeks 1 and 2, I wasn't in week 1, but week 2 was the one that I was like, I don't like this. Yeah. This is horrible and awful and I feel alone. But yeah, no, week 2 and 3 were better. And then this week's been interesting. Just interesting. Because you hear a lot more from people. I don't know. She was talking about, I'm trying to remember what the prompt was.
Right.
We've been focusing on like stuck points. And so stuck points are like the stories we tell ourselves and kind of fall back on over and over and over again. So like our core beliefs about ourselves in a negative light. So for me, one of those is absolutely like, if I have to ask to have my needs met, I'm an inconvenience or I'm the problem. And then the other core belief that like, I don't know if I can ever let go of this one, just trauma based, right? Is that I would rather meet my own needs or attempt or have them go unmet than ask to have them met. And then they're not. Right. Because that rejection piece is really bad.
Yeah.
So I'm bad at asking for help. That's what we've learned here today.
On a core level.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fundamentally you.
Right. Which is why I don't even consider it. It doesn't pop into my head to be like, you need help to do this. Mm-hmm. It's like, you need to do this. How creative can we be to do this?
Right.
On my own.
I used to do that too before I did group.
Yeah.
Group was really what helped me with a lot of that stuff.
Yeah. We haven't really talked about group so much. And this is my first experience doing any kind of group therapy.
Yeah.
So it's been really fascinating. But yeah, no, there was a woman there who, like, bless her soul, I wish I could have people like I wish I could reach out and be like, here, watch our podcast.
Yeah.
You will feel less alone. Not because shilling, but because I don't know. The mission is to help people not feel so alone.
Mm-hmm.
And these people really, really feel alone. And that makes me really sad.
Oh my God.
Because I remember what that's like, and it's not a good feeling.
No.
It doesn't feel good
No.
to be like, I'm the only one, I'm in the dark, I'm all by myself, nobody cares.
And then having to deal with it, the chronic illness that you have at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
It just spirals.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it feeds into itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Ugh.
So yeah, working through those stuck points, there was a lot of, it was really interesting because I found that for other chronic pain sufferers, blame is a really big factor.
See, I hadn't encountered that yet.
Which is just
like, I hadn't
so
really
strange.
We'd never really talked about it in our group. No, I guess no one really was experiencing it.
Yeah.
But it makes sense that it would be a part of it. I just
Kind
haven't
of.
seen it.
Kind of. Like, because this is like people who believe, like, I'm cursed, I must have done something horrible in the last life, like I deserve this somehow.
Yeah.
Which is, like, I can kind of relate to the, like, I deserve this somehow piece, but...
Well, for some people, they have to justify. There has to be a reason.
Oh, maybe that's what it is.
Right? Like, for us, it's like we're like genetics. We were born with it.
Right, exactly.
You know? Or, I mean, we don't have that need to justify it. It just is.
Right.
But for some people, they need to have a reason.
Yeah, because that was one of the weird things I found in the second week was that one of the writing assignments was like to explain why you think you're in pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I was born? I don't know what?
Right.
What?
Yeah.
So for me, it's never been, like, we've never questioned it, I don't think.
Right.
We've always questioned it on a different level of, like, maybe everyone feels this way and I just can't handle it.
Yeah. That was huge.
That was really big growing up.
We also didn't have normal lives that were interrupted by an incident or it's always been this way.
Right. We didn't get sick.
Right.
We just got sicker.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure a lot of people in your group have had their lives now interrupted by this.
Right. Well, and it's interesting because I think there's a lot of, because we talked about the, like, medical gaslighting as well, where she talked about, like, not being believed for a lot of years and not knowing what was wrong with her. And I'm wondering if she almost still doesn't know what's wrong with her. So that intrigues me. And I'm always like, is it EDS?
Have you
is
tried
it EDS? Do you know? Have you met EDS? You might have that. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I just relate so strongly to the, like, medical gaslighting and not knowing what's going on with you. That I understand. But it's totally a foreign idea of, like, blame and feeling like you deserve it or earned it or
something you did brought this on you.
Yeah, she literally said, I feel cursed.
Wow.
And I was like, that is an intense feeling.
Well, there's got to be more than one thing too.
Yeah.
If she's feeling cursed, there's probably multiple things that happened in succession.
Well, she was talking about at one point she had, like, a blood transfusion and was in the hospital.
Oh, wow.
And her family, shitty family, I don't know, was like, essentially, you're going to be a burden at one point or another.
Great.
And so I think she kind of shut down from there and was like, I guess I'm a burden. Like,
yeah,
I'll adopt that into my stuff now too. Whereas, like, I don't think we've ever, I don't know, I felt like an emotional burden for a lot of years.
Yeah.
Because I was essentially feral when I moved in with my husband. And so I was like this, like, really cagey, just feral. I was feral.
Yeah.
Let's just put it that way. So I understand, like, feeling like an emotional burden, and I understand fighting to not become a burden.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Have you ever, like, how does that work in your mind?
What, being a burden?
Yeah. Or, like, feeling like a burden or...
I definitely felt like I was during the Depression era. Like, I felt like everything I did was just unnecessary. Like, anything that was to help me, I felt like I was imposing on other people for help. If that makes sense. Like, if I needed a ride, even, I'd be like, well,
if I
I'm
have
not
to
worth
ask
it
to have my needs met,
Right.
I am a problem.
Exactly. And, you know, I was super depressed anyway, so
Yeah.
I would then beat myself up over it.
Right.
So, I mean, in that sense, I felt I was a burden.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for a long time, that went on. But I've never really felt like EDS made me a burden to anybody.
Right. It just was.
Yeah.
And is.
Yeah. No, more of the depression stuff. More than anything.
So you and I are kind of on the same level. Hold on. I'm losing my voice. Give me a second.
1. She found it.
2. Yeah, you and I are kind of on the same level where it's like, it felt like an emotional burden.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But
I never really felt otherwise.
yeah.
And I mean, we've had good support though too.
Yeah.
Even when we were at like our worst points, it's like our spouses still supported us. And
Right.
still had family.
Yeah.
To some extent, like.
Well, and I feel like we were left to our own devices enough in childhood that we are fairly good at the metacognition piece.
Yeah.
Where we are good at thinking about our own thinking and examining our own thinking.
Yeah.
And adopting new ideas.
Very true. Very true.
So the last time I had my pain psych, we were talking about, because I think she's starting to understand me a little bit more as time goes on.
Yeah.
Because it's so funny how it works, because she'll ask me things like, well, are you scared? Because when I had that, I don't even know if I addressed this last week, maybe not. But when I had that really bad dysautonomic thing going on, and they were doing all the EKGs, and she was like, well, how are you feeling about that? And I was like, annoyed, frustrated, and annoyed.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, are you like scared? Are you worried? And I was like, nope.
No.
Not even a little. And then she, like, it confused her, because she's like, well, that's not what I was. Because I think she thought for a while that I was just, like, repressing stuff.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And not addressing things. And I'm like, no, I really don't feel scared about it. And she's
we
like,
don't repress.
no. And she's like, what did she say to me? She was like, do you have faith that nothing is wrong in your body? And I was like, yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, but it could be a heart problem. That doesn't scare you. And I'm like, no, because I know it's not a heart problem.
Even if it was, I don't think you'd become scared.
No, because, like, I don't.
When I had the angiogram, I sat there for.
Even when you told me you were in the hospital, I was like, oh.
Right.
And I wasn't worried.
Right, exactly.
And I even told you I wasn't worried. And you were like, me neither.
No. I sat there for like 2 days and you know, the nurses kept checking out, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, no, I'm great.
Yeah.
I'm good. Even when we were doing it, I was like, this should be stressing me out, but this is too cool.
Yeah.
Like being able to see it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird. And she was like, you're not scared. You're not worried. No. And you really think nothing's wrong. I was like, yeah, dude, nothing is wrong. When I worry about things, it's that I worry that nothing is going to show up on scans.
Exactly.
That is our fear. And that's where, like, a lot of it comes from. I don't know. We just have a very different way of viewing things, I think. And it's hard to nail down because, yeah, pain doctors don't quite know what to do with us. They are confused and perplexed by us.
At least mine like it.
Yeah.
Because I always end up with the cool ones. Like I have David right now.
Yeah.
And Megan before him and Vanessa. They were all like, I would just be straight up with them and tell them exactly what was going on.
Right.
What I felt was going on. And they were like, wow, you're really well informed. I'm like, yeah, well, you know.
I kind of live in here in this meat suit, so yeah.
But yeah, I've had some that were like, are you sure about that? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Just taken aback by the way I approached it, I guess.
Right. Like, I don't know. They're confused by our reactions to things, which is fascinating.
But like Harper said, we just don't care. Like, yeah. Life's too short.
Right. And I don't have, and I don't know how many times I can say it, I don't have self-preservation.
Nope.
I lack it entirely. It doesn't pop up in my brain. It doesn't work that way. I'm here in this body, and I have more FOMO than fear.
Yeah.
So it's fascinating to me.
More FOMO than fear.
Right. Well,
it's a good tagline.
I do. I'm like, I would rather be doing stuff and risk injury than protecting my body. Why would I do that? And that confuses me, and I'm like, and I know my confusion confuses other people because they're like, yeah, you're not afraid of hurting yourself, and you're like, fuck no. Why would I be afraid of the thing that is inevitable and will happen daily no matter what I do?
That's true. Yeah. Yeah, no. We do just approach activities as like,
right,
this is gonna hurt.
And I think
I don't put that into the equation anymore. I'm not like, oh, it's gonna hurt.
It's like, gonna hurt like, anyway.
Right. Exactly. It's just, it is.
You're like,
the pain will come. I'm used to it.
It will be there, and it's fine.
Yeah.
This is not unusual or abnormal. It's just so interesting. But yeah, no, I think she's finally starting to kind of understand where I'm at in the world. But it's fascinating to listen to other people.
Does she run the group?
Yeah, she runs it with somebody else, Eli somebody. I don't remember what his name is. But they run it together, and they have like, right now the homework is that I haven't been doing. Sorry. They're like, do a sheet every day.
Of what?
It's like an ABC chart. So I think of it as an ABC chart because in SPED we do the like antecedent, or behavior, consequence, right?
Yeah.
And so this is like antecedent, as in like what happened, what triggered you, and then the next piece is like what is the associated stuck point.
Okay.
And then how did you feel about it?
And that like working through PTSD kind of stuff?
Yes. So that applies. They're like, you need to have at least one that's PTSD based and one that is pain based.
Okay. Well,
but you need to do one every day. Right. Exactly. I'm like, I don't feel anything about the pain aside from irritation.
Wait, let's go through it. Let's say, like when I rearranged the office, which I did, I hurt my left hip.
Yeah.
So then the anesthesia would be moving the couch.
Yep.
Then what was B?
The stuck point.
The stuck point.
Like the story you tell yourself about it. So like moving the couch caused a thing.
Yeah. The story I tell myself about it.
Right?
That's hard. It's like I moved the couch and hurt myself.
Yeah.
Like,
it makes more sense for me in the PTSD range.
Oh, in PTSD that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I could do that easy peasy.
Right. Like I did one yesterday.
Yeah.
Because both of us were triggered yesterday. It was great.
Fun.
So awesome. But like that I can do where you're like, the thing happened. The story I told myself was based in like, it's the same thing over and over again. And it's never going to stop, basically, I guess. And then the feeling around it was like anxiety and powerlessness.
So I could say like the story I told myself was that it was going to happen anyway.
Right. Like it was bound to happen and
right.
I should have expected it.
I did expect it.
Yeah.
I took measures not to make it worse.
Right.
But I had to move the couch by myself. So it was, I had to put effort into it.
Right.
And the way I felt about it was tired.
Right. And they're like, we need an emotion.
An emotion.
Like,
I didn't have an emotional response to it.
The body. Right.
There wasn't an emotional response. There was, okay. So
this hurts now.
Yeah. I tried to set it. And then everything was fine.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel a way about it.
Pain is just, it is. It just is.
Now, if we go into PTSD, that's easy.
Yes.
Like, hell, I was triggered the other night from random fireworks going off at like 3 a.m.
Oh, no.
So what was the event? The event was panic attack.
Yep.
What caused it? Flashback memories of people getting shot. And the way I felt about it was terrified.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, easy peasy.
Yep. Right? And
but applying it to pain does not work for me.
It doesn't make sense. Mm-mm. And so, like, even when we talked about the pacing piece, I was like, I don't pace in a task. I can pace between tasks. Mm-hmm. Like, I can finish a task, take a break, and then go into the next task. But I can't break within one task.
Right.
Because I need momentum. And it's not like, I don't know. It's so strange to me that people fear pain.
I mean, we used to, though. When we were little, like as kids.
In a way.
Like were you ever afraid of getting shots and stuff?
Something was wrong. No, because I never got shots.
Oh, yeah. I remember when I was really little, it used to freak me out. But I got over it.
Yeah. Like, I remember Sarah, like, siblings would cry when they would see, like, blood.
Oh, yeah.
I screamed my whole first, like, 4 or 5 years, just in general, about anything and everything. And then it was like...
Got it out of your system.
Okay, I guess I got to deal with it on my own because nobody's going to help me. And then that's how I approached it.
Fair.
It was like, okay, I guess I'm going to be in pain and no one's going to believe me. And that's just the way it is. And I will have to figure out how to cope.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Stuck points just doesn't make sense to be in pain.
Yeah.
I can see how that would be frustrating.
Right, because there's not a story that I tell myself about the pain.
Right. Everything else, though.
Right. Like, emotionally, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, like, PTSD-wise, absolutely.
I'm trying to think of something similar that we would have done in my group, but most of what they were doing was just coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
And grounding and, like, how to... What we do, how to like, kind of separate yourself from the pain.
Right. But we learned it instinctually, I think,
Mm-hmm.
which is why it's almost foreign now, because for us, we were never the body.
Right.
And the body wasn't us.
No,
There was always, like, two separate things. There was always a wall between the two.
Yeah, no, I remember thinking about that as a kid. Like,
yeah.
Especially when I hurt myself sailing or something.
Mm-hmm.
Being like, okay, great, I've ruined the meat suit. I've hurt the mech. It is now in pain.
Well, because part of it, I think, comes from the trauma of being like, if I get hurt, it costs money.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And so it was like a commodity kind of thing.
I'm not a commodity. Dr. Tran.
Dr. Tran. Don't go look it up. It's horrible.
Look it up. It's fantastic.
If you don't like my cussing, it's going to be really bad.
Right. If you don't like bad words, don't watch it.
I only said 2 so far. I'm really sorry. I love you.
She's counting now.
I'm trying. I'm trying really hard.
I'm impressed.
Ugh. It's hard. But I don't know. But then they go back to this idea of, like, guilt over it.
Right.
But we've never...
How are they feeling guilt? Like, are they feeling guilty that they have the thing and they're imposing on people? Or do they feel guilt? Like, how does it apply?
It's just, like, undirected. I think what they really mean when they say guilt is shame.
Okay, yeah.
Because it took me years to find the distinction between the two. Because I would just have, like, guilt built up inside of me all the time. And I always felt like I had done something wrong. Or that I was wrong. Or... Right? Like, that lived in me for a long time. And then, I don't even remember how I figured this out, but I learned that it was different. Guilt is over something that you actually have done.
Right.
And feel remorseful for. Shame is imposed on you.
Mm-hmm.
And that made sense to me. Because I was like, yep, the feeling that I have is absolutely imposed on me from the outside.
Yeah.
And so when I was able to make the distinction... I think it was easier for me to separate from it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's so, I don't know, it's just so interesting to hear other people talk about their experiences.
I'd like to get somebody on who has a chronic condition that, like, discovered it or had it happen halfway through.
Right.
Because their perspective would be very interesting.
Yeah, because again, like,
how they
we
approach
didn't
it and...
become ill.
Mm-hmm.
We were always been ill. We just get more ill.
That was creepy, but awesome.
We had a child come through and, like, pull the door slightly aside and go, I love you. He's cute. He was checking to see if we were doing stuff because he wants the TV, I bet.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just, I would love to hear from somebody like that because I don't know how we would go about asking those questions without, I don't know, because I don't want it to be like, oh, we cope better than you.
No,
I just want to know what the thought process is.
Right. It's just their mental route. Like, how do they approach things?
Right.
Like, how did it affect them? How did it change them?
Right, exactly. Because that's the thing is, like, the change, I think, is really big. Because, again, like, there's a lot more grief for people who were once well.
Right.
There's a lot more grief, and, like, they have to mourn the life they had before and the future they thought they were going to have.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas we kind of, in passing, mourn the, like, theoretical, I guess. Like, oh, I could have done this thing had I not blah, blah, blah.
Once we found out, I retroactively was able to get rid of a lot of shame.
Right, because we were able to apply a filter to it.
Right, being
that
like,
made
well,
sense.
it makes sense that I couldn't do this, and this, because I had this going on. Yeah.
Exactly.
It wasn't
and it was
made
like
up.
we were able to go back to experiences and go, I wasn't faking. There was a reason.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't for attention. It all makes sense through this lens. And so for us, it was all about like finding a name, like figuring out what the thing was. And once we had the name, it was better.
I mean, basically, we were looking for validation.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And I needed a name for the kids.
Yeah.
So that if they had it, then we would know what to do.
That's true.
You want to take a break?
Yeah. Let's do that. All right, friends. You should know what you need to do by now, but hopefully.
Well, there are some new people.
Oh, there are. Welcome to the channel. Our new friends. I'm so excited. Our channel is growing quite a bit and has grown quite a bit in the last couple weeks. And we are extremely grateful.
Yeah.
So excited to see what comes next. But again, if this is your first time or if you just need the reminder, you need to drink some water.
Yeah. You need to take your meds if you forgot.
Yep. Have a snack.
Yes. Maybe go outside, enjoy the weather if it's nice.
Yeah.
If it's not, be sad and mourn the rain. Sit by a window. Have a melancholic moment.
Put your hand on it.
Yeah.
Pretend you're looking out a train window in the rain.
Yeah, we need it. It's cathartic.
Yeah.
Do it.
There you go. Yes. So get some sunlight if you can. Do something cozy for yourself. Check in with you.
That's huge.
This is one that I'm trying to work on, is kind of stopping for a moment and checking in and seeing how am I feeling? How am I feeling in my body?
Yep.
And then kind of getting in touch with my body for a minute and letting those feelings be there without applying a narrative to them.
Yeah.
Which is new and interesting.
Kind of let them wash over you. And
yeah. Because I'm a big one for like rationalizing my feelings.
Yes.
I'm very good at rationalizing my feelings.
Oh boy.
So I don't have to feel them. There you go. I don't know. So yeah, feel your feels. Have a snack, drink some water, take your meds, and we will see you in a minute. Bye. Fantastic Pains now has merch. I know we've been promising it for a while, but it is here. You can find our stuff at fantastic-pains.creator-spring.com. We have t-shirts, hoodies, leggings, wine coolers, I guess you can call them, and my very favorite backpack. So take a minute, go check us out.
Welcome back. How was your break? Ours was pretty good, actually. It was nice. It's very nice outside.
Yes, very. It's lovely. And we had some good conversations, kind of trying to wrap our minds around these ideas.
We're going to continue our conversation from earlier.
Yes.
Because we need to get to the point.
Right.
We'll find it.
We got to find it. Well, and I think we're going to lead from like the mental health aspect of like, it's a lifelong thing.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a lot of people don't really think of it that way because it's like, oh, well, I've been doing great lately. Right. And then they get that one misstep and then they're back to the beginning.
Right.
It's all the time.
Yeah.
Even when you're doing great.
Yeah. Especially when you're looking at like chemical imbalances and PTSD, because what we know about trauma is that it literally changes your brain chemistry.
Yeah.
It changes the neural pathways. It alters your brain and you have to do like actual cognitive work to repair the damage from that.
Yeah. It's one of the things that Libby was talking about with me before.
Yeah.
Is practicing all your skills when you're doing well.
Yes.
You have to keep them sharp and up to date. And it's so easy to be like, well, I've been fine lately. I haven't needed to practice them.
Right.
No, it's when you need to practice them so that you're ready for when you misstep.
Because if you don't practice them, you're not going to be able to access them in times of need. Like when you are spiraling, you can't access those skills if you haven't been able to practice them and make new neural pathways.
Yeah.
Because it's literally what you're attempting to do, is you're trying to train your brain out of its lazy path, because what we know about the mind is like it's going to take the shortcut every time.
Yeah.
Unless we actually create new pathways.
We also need to take a second and introduce the zebras that have been sitting here the whole time.
Yeah.
We have 2 Squishmallow zebras that are with us.
That my husband got for us.
They are amazing.
They're very cute.
And we need to name them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to let the community decide. Like, it's up to you guys.
Yep.
Put it in comments. Put it on Discord.
Yes. Name the zebras. Let us know what you want.
Yeah. We have good old Zebra 1 and good old Zebra 2.
Yep.
We'll keep them straight eventually because they have different patterns. So we can actually delineate.
Which I love. I love that they're different. Like, that's fun to me. I like
They're
that.
so soft too. Their manes.
They're really, really soft. And they're little. So they're not so giant. And Dooney, I love you, but Bud, you're a little hefty. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm also going to include a shot of the office. We said we would after we redid the studio. I did move it around. And we agree that it's a lot better this way.
It's so cozy. I love it.
It's just nice.
Yeah.
So I'll take a picture at the end.
Yeah.
I'll do like a video. And then I'll clip it in.
Ta-da.
Look at all the stuff that we have.
It's beautiful.
Amazing.
Show off the nerd gear.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
And the Mallow collection.
The Mallow collection. That Squishmallow thing is going to get bigger and bigger.
Yes,
We're going to have more.
There's not going to be a couch anymore?
We're going to build a mattress out of them.
Oh, my God. That sounds almost worthwhile. Because you just sink
stitch
into
them
it.
all together at the sides.
Anyways,
There you
back
go.
to our topic.
Yes. So especially through the lens of like CPTSD, and you said something really interesting about it earlier that I really, really liked.
Which bit did I say? Oh, yeah, it is. It's like fighting an addiction.
Yeah.
The parallels are amazing.
Right.
It
And I
really
hadn't
much.
ever thought about it that way.
Yeah.
But as soon as you said it, it hardcore clicks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's lifelong,
Mm-hmm.
and it's going to come up when you least expect it.
Right. Like once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic.
Yeah,
You can't ever drink responsibly without sliding back into that addiction.
Right. And the same goes with like bad self-talk, or
Yes.
you'll slide right back into your old habits, and then you're back to square one.
Right. Yeah. So a lot of that is that, like, again, the brain is so lazy. Like it's an amazing thing, but it will take the most used path.
Yeah.
And if we aren't careful, the most used path is still going to be the one of like panic attacks or angry outbursts or emotional dysregulation or you know.
Yeah. I'm glad I don't get the angry outbursts.
Yeah.
That would I'd feel so bad about that. The guilt would be intense.
Yeah. Well, and that's why, like, when I work with kids like that, I always have to remind the adults that I'm like, every interaction has to be a new interaction, because when they're walking back into your room after an incident, they're carrying a lot of guilt with them.
Yeah.
And if you reinforce that guilt, they're going to slide right into it, and you're going to lose them again. Because they need to know that there is, like, they can come back from mistakes.
Yeah.
Which is something we had to teach ourselves, too, was that, like, you could make mistakes and it wasn't the end of the world.
Oh, man. That was what our spouses had to do for us.
Yes.
It was a lot of other people in our late teens trying to fix us.
Yeah. Because God help me. And I still, like, to this day, I call it runaway brain, where I'm like, oh, something is wrong. Burn it all down.
Yeah, no.
Burn it down and run.
Yeah,
they hate me. Better make them hate me more.
Well, and it would be something silly. Like you said, your story, you didn't change the vacuum once?
Yeah. No, it was like the filter. I vacuumed with the filter out of the vacuum.
Yeah.
And I lost it. Because I was like, oh my God, I ruined a thing. And for me, like, monetary value is so deeply ingrained in my sense of shame.
Yeah.
And guilt and all of that, because it just was. It was that, like, oh, if I cost someone money,
oh yeah,
I'm a problem, right?
You're a big problem.
There's my stuck point right there.
Yep.
Like, if I, even to this day, I think if I was like, if I had to have like super expensive medical treatment, I'd be like, no, I'll die before I put my family in debt.
Yeah. No, I get that.
Cancer? No, we're not treating that.
It's fine.
We're just going to let whatever happens, happens. I don't know. We'll save for the funeral.
So unhealthy.
Right? Yeah.
But no, I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because there's an aspect of that, like, mental gymnastics to it.
Oh yeah.
And the ways, like, we were talking about how some other people need there to be like a reason, right?
Yes. Well, I forget what we were saying, but it made sense. Like it helped us understand it a little bit better, that there has to be a cause for it.
Yeah.
Because if there's not, then
what kind of world do you live in where bad things can just happen? Right. So I think a lot of people are like seeking reason. They're seeking, like, there has to be a point to it all.
Yeah.
Right.
It can't just be.
It's just exactly where we've come to a place in our lives where we're very good at, like, it just is. And sometimes it's in the, like, it is what it is kind of way. And other times it's like, I can accept every outcome.
Right.
And then I'm comfortable with whatever happens. Not like comfortable, but I know I am okay with whatever happens. I will be okay. And I think we kind of came to this through the podcast, really, where we talked about how you can be in pain and have it be okay. Right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I'm in pain and it's okay. Instead of I'm in pain, but it's okay.
Yeah, the early days of the podcast, there was a lot of that.
There's a lot of like kind of discovery about, I don't know, like time moves forward regardless.
Oh, yeah.
And for me, that's super comforting. I know for other people it's not, but like.
No, it's one of our go-tos.
Yeah.
When you're in it and it feels like forever, it's not forever.
It's not forever. This is a moment, and the moment will pass, and then we will be okay. And then later we will not be okay again, and then we'll be okay, and then we won't be okay.
My favorite is when there was one time you said it, and I was manic. It was like in the last 2 months, like when I was having those weird manic episodes, and I was like really upset by it, and then I literally thought about it for like a minute, and I went from extremely angry to okay, this will pass. Yeah. I just had to like think through it and get over the emotional response. Right. And be like, that's just a random response to nothing. Like,
oh my gosh, that's the other part. This just occurred to me actually, is like they have to validate the way they feel almost.
Oh, you're right. That makes so much sense.
Like you get defensive of your emotional response. Right. Because you're entitled to it. Right. You're like, I'm suffering and I'm entitled to this emotional response. Yeah. Because sometimes it does. Like there are points where giving into the dysregulation feels good. It feels good to let it go. Like take off all the confines, I guess. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You're like, I'll just sit in my feelings for a minute.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
Right?
I do that a lot.
So for some people, like, and I know for me, sometimes it does. It feels good to be out of control for a minute. Yeah. And you're like, I don't want to be back in control. Forget you. Like, I'm not going to calm down.
That's basically what it was. Is that I was like, I have to let this out. Yeah. Feel the way I'm going to feel about it, and then come back to it and be fine.
Yeah. Well, and that was the other part that we learned kind of as we were going through things, is that like, if we found an outlet for it, we did better, and it lasted less. It was shorter. Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah. Instead of letting things fester. And that's like,
you definitely
again,
don't want
with
that
the
to sit.
explicit communication, and like, you don't want to run around with like, I'm going to carry all of this dysregulation. No. And then mask for everybody.
No, I tried that for a while.
It's not fun.
It is horrible.
It's really bad.
And it makes things so much worse.
Yes.
It's just a downhill slope once you start.
Right. Well, it's like, do you remember like having meltdowns where even through the meltdown, you weren't even sure what you were melting down about?
Oh, absolutely.
And you'd kind of sort through reasons as you went through this meltdown.
Right. There'd be
until
like
you got
something
to the core of it, and you
were
were like,
surface level reason that you start with. Like, yes. Oh, this is messy. And then it evolves into like something that's been bothering you for a long time. Yeah. Yeah.
Or like 2 or 3 different things that you're like, I needed to like figure out what the core of that emotional response was.
Yeah, like where it was coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
But if we kind of addressed it as it was coming on, we didn't have to like hold it in the pile, I guess. Yeah. There were fewer things to sort through to get to the like the main point. Because I don't know about you, but like once I got to that main thing, I was like, oh. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm upset. This makes sense now. I'm okay. Or I can like be okay. I can work on being okay.
Right. I don't know. It takes care of itself once you understand it, at least.
Right. Well, and I think like we've said before, get it out of you. Get it out of you in your head and your body.
Yeah.
It's like nightmares when you're a little kid and you're like, oh, I had this horrible dream and it blah, blah, blah. And you start explaining it and you're like, this really wasn't scary. I don't know what this is about.
Exactly.
Sorry.
I don't know why.
Never mind. I'm okay.
Rory did that to me the other day. He's just like, oh, I had this really bad dream. And he started telling me about it. And he's like, it's not actually that scary.
Right. But that's exactly how it feels. Like once you are able to be like, here, let me purge this from myself in a regulated way, then I don't have to carry it around and I don't have to like sit with that gross, heavy feeling in your body.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of what they're like addressing within the group is the relationship between the mental and the physical.
Yeah.
And how they influence each other. And what's interesting for me is that like I can identify emotionality within the body. Like I know what that feels like.
Yes, exactly.
I know what the anxiety feels like. I know what the like yuck feels like. I'm always like, I don't know. Here we go. You can see right here. So like right in the base of my like diaphragm is where I carry emotional feeling.
Yeah.
And I know what that feels like. But also if I'm like in heavy emotional output, I'm not thinking about the body.
Right.
And I'm not thinking about the pain. But I know for other people, like that emotionality gets translated into an
physical.
increase in pain. Mm-hmm. And for me, like people, I've had doctors ask, like when I was going through November, November was really bad. It was a lot. And I had a doctor ask me, he was like, has your pain increased while you're going through this? And I was like, I don't know. I do not know.
Yeah.
I have not been present in my flesh prison. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know.
It definitely does, though. I've had that happen where just the feeling of like bottling it up.
Yes. Well, and you have to rationalize it and then it turns into physical pain. Yeah. Right? Because the physical pain is easier to justify.
What really got me was when I would have issues and I couldn't solve them. Yeah. Like I'd be like, well, this and this happened and I can't solve it right now because I have, there's no way to address it. Yeah. So you're just sitting with it. That was the worst for me. That's when it would become physical pain. Yeah. It would translate because I was just sitting there and I'd be frustrated.
Picking at it and like obsessing over. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Rather than like, here it is. Let me put it on the table. Right. And like, and I mean, I don't know. I come back to that idea of like decisions make themselves when you have enough information. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of how I translate things now is like, here's a thing. Can I do anything about it? Right. Yes. Cool. Let's move on with that. No. Okay. We got to put it away for now because there's nothing to be done about it. Mm-hmm. And obsessing for me, like more recently, I guess, in the last like 2-3 years, everything kind of becomes a measurement of energy output.
Oh, definitely.
And so for me, like even that emotionality,
the energy.
Yeah. The emotionality piece is huge for that, where I'm like, I could sit here and obsess over it, but that feels like a waste of energy.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Or like engaging in social drama that I can't do anything about. Mm-hmm. That is a lot of emotional output that I'm like, that's spoons I don't have. No, thank you. Yeah. And actually, like, I think having to ration my energy has helped me to be a better internal communicator, I guess. You have to change the way you measure things.
Oh, totally.
And meter things. And
same.
You can't obsess about things anymore unless you want to like drain all your battery. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that I look at and I'm like, well, that sucks. But also, there's nothing to be done. Right. So, we're going to move on and wait for more information or wait for another avenue to open up. Yep. Because, again, like, that helpless piece, again, isn't forever. Right. Like, the situation will resolve itself at some point. Yeah. In some way. Because time moves forward.
It does. I remember early days, like before we had the diagnosis, I would get stuck on like trying to find solutions and what it was, or being impatient for surgeries, even like the very early stuff. Yeah. Being like, I need to do this and like wasting so much energy on nothing. Yeah. And just being exhausted all the time because I was waiting actively
right
for something to happen.
Right. That like impatience that builds inside of you.
Yeah.
Like tension.
Mm-hmm. Oh, totally.
You just carry it and it doesn't feel good.
Mm-hmm.
And so now like a lot of things translate into like irritation where I'm like, I'm frustrated that I can't do anything about this, but also there's nothing to be done about it. Yeah. So we're going to put it away for now.
Mm-hmm.
So we talked about like the metacognition piece, and what's interesting, so in group we talk a lot about like the avoidance stuff,
right?
And so we keep coming back to it is the thing, and so they're like trying to find a way to just like make it make sense for me, because I don't ever feel like I'm avoiding things.
Right? Are they talking about like avoiding pain or avoiding
like thinking about things or avoiding?
Okay,
I don't even know. So the one way they put it was, yes, you are avoidant. What you're avoiding is... Ugh, what am I saying? I don't even know. Like the emotion part, I guess.
Okay.
But even then, I'm like, yeah, I could feel a way about it, but I don't.
Right. It's kind of not there.
Yeah. So, I mean, for the stuck points, it makes sense because I do absolutely avoid asking for help or trusting other people to meet my needs. I have major fucking trust issues with the CPTSD, which, in case you don't know, is complex post-traumatic stress disorder, which generally just means that it's not one trauma, it's several.
Many,
over a long period of time. And so in a way, I am avoidant because I avoid situations in which I could be vulnerable.
Yeah.
But for me, it's always just felt like self-protection in a way. I don't know.
No, yeah.
It absolutely is avoidant, and I acknowledge that.
The way you justify it is self-protection. Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems to track.
But it's also not like I go into the world and I assume everybody's going to screw me over.
No.
There are people I trust, but like I save things up until I can deal with them with the people I trust.
Right.
Instead of like broadening the possibilities of people I could trust.
Right.
So I am like practicing that a little more these days, like reaching out to Summer and being more honest about like how I feel.
Yeah.
Because work is a lot of masking. It's a lot of this like, I'm fine. Oh, guess what? I'm dying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that happens a lot. But yeah, I definitely avoid making myself vulnerable. But I don't know that will ever necessarily
But you can
change.
be, though. Like, there are settings where you feel like you can be vulnerable. Yeah.
Right.
It's not like you're avoiding it at all costs. Like,
no.
Never, ever be vulnerable.
Right. And it's not like I'm avoiding negative emotion either.
Right.
Like, generally, the way it's sorted in my brain is like, can I deal with this here and now? No. Put it away. We'll work on that later. And there are times like, well, I'll come over here and I will just cry it out. And rage for like a half hour, and then I'm fine. Like, ta-da, I'm regulated again because I dealt with the thing. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. But I also don't feel like I'm like hitting my limits.
No.
With the stuff I'm holding on to and waiting until I can deal with it with somebody. Or with myself. Because that's a big one, is like, I like to examine those things alone. Like, I like to sit down and examine it within myself. So like that metacog piece again.
Yeah. What's interesting is I've been doing that. I've been noticing a lot lately that I do it. There's like a time before I go to bed where Jen's writing still and like people are still online, but I'm like, I want to get off. And at first I thought it was that I just wanted to get off to relax.
Yeah.
But I've built this habit of just examining what's going on within myself.
Yeah.
Right before bed.
Yeah.
Like I do the full breakdown. Like, how am I doing emotionally? Why am I feeling this way? Physically, what's going on? And I don't know. I just accidentally kind of fell into this habit of doing it before bed. So it's now my bedtime routine is I have to do that.
Which is, I think, really helpful.
It has been.
Yeah.
Like, there have been things that I've been upset about that I didn't.
Right. You don't recognize until you're like, oh, wow, that was really bothering me.
Yeah. And even just identifying it helps. And then I can, address it calmly at another point.
But now, like, I'm questioning everything that I do because I'm like, am I feeling them and then dealing with them and being done with them? Or am I rationalizing and rushing through the process?
Oh.
But also, do I need to
Draw it out.
Like feel it all.
Right.
Because there are some things where I'm like, you know when it, like there's a flash issue where you're like, that really bugged me, that really bothered me, and I'm feeling a way about it.
Yeah.
And then I sit down and I'm like, okay, why? Why did that get me so riled up? And it's not like I'm like, I don't know, it's not like I'm trying to turn off that emotion. I'm just trying to understand it.
Yeah.
But apparently, like, I'm rationalizing all of my feelings instead of feeling feelings. But I'm like, what is the difference? Someone help me understand.
Yeah.
Because I like to examine it. I like to understand it.
Mm-hmm.
There's never a feeling where I'm like, I don't know why I feel this way. Huh. And then I move on. Like, I'm like, okay, hold on. Wait, this emotion does not make sense.
Yeah.
For what's happening right now. Pause. Why do I feel that way?
I mean, I tried doing that day. I tried to laugh and ended up crying.
Yeah.
But there was no sense of that. Was just chemical imbalance at its best.
Your poor brain was like, I don't know, just flush all the chemicals.
Oh, he wants happy? Sad.
Cry it all out. We're going to dump everything through the eyeballs.
But I didn't feel sad either. It was the weirdest part. I was just crying. Mm-hmm. It was bizarre.
But you know, like, your tears have different chemical makeup.
Exactly.
And
right.
Your brain literally has to, like, wash shit out, like, flush it out.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're crying, your brain is dumping all of that, like, excess stuff,
mm-hmm.
which is interesting. But I don't know. Where were we?
We were at blame cult responsibility. Kind of.
Yes.
Guilt cult.
Guilt cult.
The guilt cult.
The cult of self-deprecation.
And we already hit needing a reason, too.
Yeah. But it's so interesting because, like, I don't know, I've been cynical my whole life. And so for me, it's like I can accept living in a world that is just awful.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is. Like, nothing is the way that you thought it was when you were a kid. But at the same time, like, I have trust issues, so...
Right.
I'm okay in the chaos. But I'm also okay in the chaos because I have trauma. Mm-hmm. So do I throw myself into the chaos because that's what's comfortable and I avoid peace and quiet?
I don't think that's true.
I don't think so either because I absolutely do take those moments and I'm like, I'm going to take a bath.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm going to do for self-care today.
Yeah.
Or like, I need to go do this thing or pick up a new hobby or whatever it is.
I like picking up a hobby. It's just a thing you do. I'm just going to pick up a new hobby real quick.
Sometimes, not always.
Yeah.
Usually it's like I watch something and I'm like, oh, I wish I could do that.
And
then this one was like, oh, I can buy these materials at the store. I'm going to do this right now. Because I hate ordering things online.
Yeah.
I hate it. Because by the time it gets to me, I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about this. It has passed.
Yeah.
The urge has gone.
Yep. I have the problem with computer parts because I always buy stuff for the computers. Mm-hmm. And I hate shipping it because it means that I have like 3 days of the computer being unusable.
Yeah, and then you gotta wait for the thing to come in, and then by then you're like annoyed with the task instead of enjoying like pumped for the task. Yeah. ADHD and impatience. Ta-da.
We didn't really get to this.
No, I don't think so.
I don't know how to fit that in. Well, it's not
like making it make sense piece.
Yeah.
So I feel like if we go back to the like feeling cursed piece.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I think people, it's like that you need there to be a reason.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be a reason because otherwise it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, nothing makes sense ever. It's fine.
Right.
But I don't know. This is something that I tell my kids a lot. And I think I've said it on the podcast before.
Oh, totally.
And this helps me to like deal with other people's behavior and how I like react to it is that they're not doing it to you. They're just doing it. Mm-hmm. Because in the end, human beings are self-centered. We just are. We are self-centered. And we can't... I don't know. It's hard to differentiate, like, if it's about you. We all want to think it's about us.
Oh, yeah. Well, everyone's the star in their mind, right?
Right.
So.
Like, everyone's the main character. I'm like, no. I'm the NPC.
I like being support.
Yeah.
I'd rather be support.
Please don't make me the main character.
Give me a main character and I'll support them.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's... But it's always helped me to, like, kind of sort through it all. It's like, they're not doing it to you. They're just doing it. You are not the main focus of that other human being's behavior.
Mm-hmm.
They are acting out of their own self-interest or their own emotionality or their own...
Well, you can apply it to yourself.
Yeah.
You get the metacog that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm doing this. Why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like, clearly I shouldn't be doing this, but I am.
Right? For those like impulsive behaviors or self-injurious behaviors even.
Yeah.
Or like when you lose control and you can see yourself being a jerk to your family or your friends and you're like, I can see this happening and I can't stop. I'm so sorry.
God, those
Let
moments.
me be really mean for no reason.
Stupid.
Yeah. But again, like, you're not doing it to them, right?
Right.
You're just doing it.
Right.
It's not about them. But yeah, we all want it to be about us, right? Like I cut you off. It must be about you. No.
Right.
Maybe they were in a hurry. Which I think, like, in here, it's like where reframing comes in handy.
Yeah.
And we haven't really addressed it in group yet, but I really like using reframing.
Do you feel like it's coming up, actually?
Maybe. It
like
might
they're
be.
kind of building towards it right now?
That would be good, but that's one of my, like, main coping mechanisms when I'm dealing with people. Because for me, like, I'm good at understanding people. We are good at understanding people and their motivations and where they're coming from and their thought processes. And so I use a lot of reframing to like put myself in different shoes. But within the group, it's been really interesting because there are some people that I just can't. I'm like, I do not understand where you're coming from or what your thought process is. And it's hard because you can't like ask
right
in the middle of a group and be like, hey, could you explain why you think that? I would really love to know. I'm very curious.
It depends on the group. But I don't in my group, I might have done that with some people because I was close enough with some of them.
Yeah.
But again, and then having that conversation in front of everybody, maybe not so much, but.
Yeah. Well, there was one point where I just put it in the chat when I had something to say.
Yeah.
They were talking about something and I went back through and what the heck did I say? I'm going to have to think about it for a second because I had it and now it's gone.
It's gone forever.
Oh, it was that like when we get stuck in our stuck points, right? We tend to use that as the lens to see everything else.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And so when things go wrong or people like drop the ball on something, we tend to use that one instance as proof.
Yeah.
And justification for the way we're thinking.
Exactly.
Even if it was just the one instance. We go, oh, I knew that was going to happen. This is what always happens. And this is what is always going to happen.
Yeah.
And it's all terrible. And this is just proof of how I've been thinking this whole time.
Right.
So we're almost on the lookout.
Confirmation bias to the max.
Yeah. Like they're almost on the lookout for somebody to screw them over.
Yeah. Well, because then they're like, hey, yeah, there it is. Call
right.
it.
Like, haha, told you so.
Well, you're being hyper-vigilant, one. Two, it's
well,
not
again,
about
like,
you.
wasted energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of wasted energy. And, like, masking is a ton of wasted energy. And I just don't have any anymore.
No.
To waste. I don't have spoons that I can give away for stupid stuff.
No.
And so now I'm like, I'm not going to mask unless I absolutely have to.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound good. Are you dying?
I am dying.
I think we should end it. You ready?
Yeah.
We didn't really get to like a main point, but I think it's a really interesting conversation.
Yeah. Well, and it has to do with what you're going through.
Yeah.
So next time you have group, it'll be interesting to see where it progresses. So kind of think of this conversation as a to be continued as we
as we learn a little more
further in. And
because it's so interesting as we go further in. There's always going to be something that we're like, huh. Hadn't thought of that. That's really interesting or really strange which is comforting too because I think one of our stuck points because we grew up being observant and understanding people was like, oh, I can predict people.
Oh God.
I know what's going to happen.
I've had that fight with myself so many times.
Yes.
Like you can't know.
Right.
But
I'm like, you're not a mind reader. Right.
Doesn't shut up.
Shh, it's not proof of anything. It's one instance.
Exactly.
I swear. Mm-hmm. One time. It's not your body of evidence.
I do have something to say before we end.
Okay.
Next week, hopefully, we could have a special guest. Yeah, we're gonna have a special guest, and we're going to talk about being bipolar, which I think will be interesting because you could ask lots of questions, and then we can kind of between him and I see what we have in common and what we don't. Like,
so as a teenager, I was accused of being bipolar, but I'm definitely not.
No, I definitely am. Yeah. Definitely.
But it's not a bad thing.
No, I mean, I took it as one at first, but
right. Well, I think everybody does with a diagnosis that's like stigmatized.
Oh, totally.
Right, like personality disorders and mental health issues, and even autism is a big one, which makes me so sad. I'm like, you shouldn't be afraid to have an autism diagnosis. But
yeah, so that'll be, look forward to that.
Yep.
I'm actually kind of excited.
Yeah.
We have to do it early though, so it'll be kind of stressful.
Yeah. Just remind me like the day before so I can set alarms and things.
Yeah. And I'll talk to him.
Do that. Yeah.
Make sure that we don't hold him too long.
Yeah. Sounds good. All right, my friends. Interesting conversation. I'm glad we had it, but I'm rearing to continue this in the next week. So
to be continued.
Stay tuned for more. In the meantime, be good to you, be good to others. Check out our Teespring, join our Discord, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. We love you, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.